Hey guys, it's Amy with 804 Sycamore, and I just wanted to say thank you for checking out this video. This project is very cool. Um, I wasn't exactly looking forward to hand stamping 4 different curtain panels, but it saved me a ton of money and it gave me the exact curtain that I was looking for. I searched high and low. I looked for curtains, I looked for tablecloths, shower curtains, even just fabric. And while the block print pattern is quite beautiful, there are so many different styles and colors and prices. So I decided, you know what, maybe I can just stamp my own. So I started researching how much it would cost, and I figured out a very affordable way to create my own beautiful customized block printed curtains. So give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and be sure to subscribe for more DIY and decorating inspiration and ideas. And let's get going. All right, guys, whatever fabric you end up getting, whether it's drop cloths or sheets or whatever, go ahead and give them a good wash. And then I like to iron them. I mean, it didn't work that great. If I had a nice steamer, I think that would work better. But you don't want huge wrinkles to interfere with the stamping. So I gave it a quick iron. Probably should have used the ironing board. But anyways, found the center, and then I'm using a laser level. There's probably better ways to cut fabric, but after washing this drop cloth, it wasn't perfectly square. The edges were a little wonky, and so I wasn't too concerned about perfection. So I went ahead and I just cut along the laser level line and created 2 curtain panels out of 1 drop cloth. And if your fabric requires any sewing, go ahead and do that now. I just sewed a simple hemline. If you need a casing, now would be the time to do that. You want to go ahead and do almost everything you can before the stamping goes down. So first step is I use Speedball fabric ink. I just got it from Hobby Lobby, and I'm using a plastic plate because I thought paper would absorb the ink and I didn't want any to go to waste. I'm also using this really cheap foam roller. Some people use a brayer. A foam roller made more sense to me, and so I used a spoon to kind of spread out some of the ink, and then I loaded up my sponge and then applied it onto the stamp. Now always make sure you test stamp an area first. I used an old drop cloth, and I want to get a feel for how much ink was left. Find the center. I always start in the center and then work my way out. And so I found the center, and then as you can see, there's a little white sponge sheet. This is just a craft sheet, super cheap at Hobby Lobby. I think dollar stores had them before. But I reapplied ink between every stamp. I didn't want a faded look, so I went ahead and smeared some of the ink again, loaded up my roller, moved the little sponge sheet, and then stamped it. Now here's a good angle to show I'm using the width of the leaf, and that's my spacing. Again, not super scientific or perfect. It just roughly gives me the spacing that I want. But later on, we'll go ahead and use measuring tape and ruler and whatnot. You can see the seam, the folded seam on the drop cloth was not the exact center. So make sure you go ahead and give it a measure, and just try to keep it as symmetrical as possible. And then we will work out our design from then on. All right, once you have the center done, I went ahead and did some measuring and determined where I wanted my next column. I didn't want it totally flush with the edge, and so for me, I measured over 4 inches in. And this is the measurement that I felt looked good. I didn't want to do tons of stamping, but I also wanted it to look like a continuous piece of printed fabric, and so I went with the 4-inch from the edge because, as you'll see right here, I'm doing 5.5, and so I figure if it was a real stamped, if it was a real printed piece of fabric, you wouldn't see that next column on the outside anyways. So that's how I spaced it out, and I alternated. And so I wasn't concerned about it looking like a legit piece of fabric, you know, and doing half a stamp on the edge of the fabric, but you most certainly can do that if you want that look and that feel. I think that would be beautiful also. And once your whole panel is all done, let it dry. I let it dry overnight. I'm sure it only took a few hours, but I just want to be sure. And then using your iron on an ironing board, it will get more wrinkles out for you. And the point is that it sets the ink. It's on the instructions of the Speedball ink, and so make sure you follow that. Now, here's the kicker. My drop cloth shrank about 4 inches, and so what I thought was the perfect length ended up being short after I washed it. But I found this pleated taffeta on Etsy for a great price, and it added a beautiful touch, and it didn't take very long to sew it on. So keep that in mind when you wash your fabric and measure your window. Okay guys, that is it. I went ahead and did that times 4. Made 4 panels for my dining room, and I absolutely love the way it turned out. Now, all transparency, it took about an hour and 15 minutes to do each panel. I'm talking about sewing it and stamping it. So that was my commitment, and I couldn't be happier with it. I love the way it turned out. So if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Leave me any questions or comments down below. And thanks so much for watching.